Mic check for the YouTube stream. Mic check for the YouTube stream.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Anne Macaulay. I am the chair of the Scarborough Panel Committee of Adjustment. I'm joined by my fellow panel members, Mr. Reed, Mr. Kahn, Ms. Ullman, and Mr. Stinson. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to the property, permission to extend or alter lawful nonconforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. For every public meeting, we have the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa bands. The Committee of Adjustment hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who wish to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you're called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is being held. During that time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allocated speaking time. At other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadlines. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to ignore this instruction. Okay. Receiving a copy of the decision of the committee. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal this decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specific persons, and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. For our hearing procedure, I will call each item in order listed on the agenda. We don't have a copy of the agenda shown anywhere, so you just have to know where you were on the agenda. Making your submission. Where an application is uncontested, the applicant or agent may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each person, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5 minutes. The timing is shown up on the panel there. Any presentation or other material you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application and substantially revise to ensure the revised application is accurate and all those entitled to receive notice are informed of the changes. After the applicant, then individuals, either in support or opposed to the application, will be invited to speak. Generally, we will call on speakers in the hearing room first, and then those participating on WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they finish their presentation. When all speakers have finished, the applicant agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. That will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Okay. I think that's the end of my general instructions. Before proceeding, do we have confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting? Do I have? Yes.
Madam Chair, I would like to move that the revised minutes of July 24, 2024 be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Okay, moved by Mr. Khan, seconded by Mr. Oman, that the minutes as revised be approved. All those in favor? Thank you. Deferrals? Nope. First of all, I'm looking for declarations of interest to panel or staff. Nothing from panel? Anything from staff?
Through the chair, there's no declarations of interest from staff.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to deferrals. Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, have you received any requests for deferrals?
Through the chair, we have a deferral for item 3, 35 Tara Avenue.
Is the applicant in the online or in the audience for item 3? No? All right. But we have received a request for deferral. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to item number 3? Okay. What is the wish of the committee? Mr. Stinson?
Madam Chair, I will move deferral. There was improper notice provided. The sign wasn't posted on the site. So if we can defer this to the September 18th hearing, that's my motion for item number 3, 35 Tara Avenue.
Okay. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second,
Okay.
Chair.
Moved by Ms. Ullman and seconded by Mr. Reed that item number 3, 35 Tara Avenue be deferred and rescheduled for the September meeting. All those in favor? Thank you. Do we have any other deferrals?
Through the chair, item 9, 17 Sunridge Drive.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for deferral for item number 9, 17 Sunridge?
Okay, Madam Chair, I will move deferral of this item. Again, it is for improper notice. The sign was not posted, and this would be a deferral sine die.
Okay. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that again.
Okay. Motion for deferral for item 9, 17 Sundridge Drive by Ms. Oman, seconded by Mr. Reed. All those in favor of the deferral? Thank you. Okay. Madam Secretary Treasurer, do we have any other deferrals?
Through the chair, there are none.
Okay. All right, we will start with item number 1, 72 Bexhill Avenue. Is the applicant here?
Good morning.
Good.
Patrick McAuliffe, the agent for the owner.
Sorry, I didn't hear your name.
Patrick McAuliffe, agent for the owner.
Okay.
I'm going to be asking for a deferral because of the email that was posted on the site yesterday from the planning department. There are too many issues that I need to clear up. Otherwise, we're going to be back at committee a second time.
Okay. So this is a request for a deferral. There's a couple of items that needed to be resolved. It would be a deferral sine die. Do I have a motion for deferral? Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. I think a deferral is warranted. There are engineering and construction issues that need to be resolved, so I think this makes sense. So I move that we defer this application. Sine die.
Thank you. Mr. Stinson? You're seconding it?
I would like to second the motion. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So a motion has been moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Stinson, that this application be deferred sine die. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
McCall. All in favor? Okay. Item number 2 is 1680 Brimley Road. We have received a notice that staff
Good morning,
are...
Madam Chair.
Okay, just a second, sir. We've received notice that staff are proposing to bring a report on this item to the committee. We haven't received it yet. What we are going to do is we are going to hold this item to the end of the agenda, hoping that we receive the notice or report from staff. If we haven't received it by that time, we will proceed with this application. So I understand that the applicant is online. Okay.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair.
Okay. You understand what we have said, that we're expecting a
I do.
report. We hope that we'll receive it shortly, but we're going to hold this matter down to the end of the agenda. There's only 17 items on the agenda, so we're hoping that we'll be holding this down to about noon at the latest. And if we haven't received that,
Understood, Madam Chair. Thank you.
we will proceed. Okay, so item 2 is going to be held. Item 3, 35 Terra Avenue, has been deferred. So we're now on item number 4, 5297 Lawrence Avenue East. Let me just get myself organized here for a minute. Computers are marvelous as long as the mouse works. It's not wanting to work today. Okay. (5297) Lawrence Avenue East is a variance application. The purpose is to construct a new 2-story dwelling. There are a number of variances requested, 4 variances: building height, height of exterior walls, number of stories, and height of the main entrance. Is the applicant online? Thank you. Good morning.
My name is Rakim. I'm the agent.
Okay, good morning, sir. Do you want to make a short presentation?
Yes.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. I read some of the objection, but they misunderstood of the east side of this project is valley, is TRCA conservation area, and then the height is about 6 meter lower than the property. So our property is like 50 meter, but half of land is 6.5 meter lower. So we are building on top part only, and then average grade. When you calculate it, is two both properties end to the end. So when you look at the front elevation of my drawing, it shows the average grade is lower than the basement. So basement is calculated as a first floor technically, and then it's a third floor, 3 stories. But technically, this is a 2-story, and then the total height is less than 10 meter, not like 13 meter, what it shows. Front elevation, the first picture.
Okay,
The first, yeah. So there is an issue with the first floor height. If we have on the finished floor, it's only 3 feet, so not one less than 1.2 meter. And the main wall height is it's not it's measured from the underside of the basement. It's not like that height. So yeah, that's all I have right now.
okay. Thank you very much. And so that's why technically it's called 3 stories, although when you look at it, it's clearly 2 stories that the layman would see. Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Do we have anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this item? Item number 45297 Lawrence Avenue East. Not seeing anyone. Is there anyone online? Okay, go ahead, please. Would you give us your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Madam Chair
Yep.
and committee, my name is Stephen Kachewski. I hope I'm getting through to you.
Can we have your address, please?
I am at 14 Tread Valley Grove,
Okay.
which is one street east of the existing build or proposed build. We have the neighbors, as you can see, that there's been a number of objections to the property being constructed in its current state due to the fact that the building height of the building, the bylaw states that there's a 9-meter limit, and what they're proposing is a building height require of 4.22 meters or 13.84 feet above the bylaw. The building exterior, the bylaw states 7 meters, and the exterior height of the main walls in the building are requested at 10.55 meters, which is 11 feet above the bylaw. And this is a 34.6 total feet height, which again is well above and beyond the bylaw. And the area is zoned for a 2-story building, which technically this is a 3-story, even though the 3rd story is predominantly below grade. Now, the other thing that comes into that has to be taken into consideration is the reading of the consulting report regarding water remediation and how they plan on utilizing the land and the rainfall, because as we're all aware, we now have environmental issues that the flooding in the city is occurring 2-3 times a year. I read the report. There is no actual solid plan because there is a driveway that runs 1.2 meters down to the street, and all that rain will be flooding into the street at the lowest level. So that's a very big concern because the insurance companies are now denying people in floodplains, which we are now being defined as, they're denying us insurance for flooding. And anybody who's getting a rider is paying thousands of dollars extra to get protection. And what we're doing here by allowing this construction is we're actually creating a floodplain. And the other thing is that what this property is doing, because of its height, is it is removing the privacy of over 20 houses. If you look down Cherry Hill Street, you will see that this property looks into the backyards and bedrooms and living rooms of numerous houses, and that's completely inappropriate. You can't have a swimming pool with children out there, or you can't have a party out there by your swimming pool without somebody being a peeping Tom. the quite possibility of it. And also, we have to take into consideration that the streets east are also going to be subjected to a lack of privacy now because of the new build. And consequently, with all of this going on, we are actually eliminating our privacy and we are eliminating our ability to get insurance on our homes. Now, I personally was flooded out already over the last 2 years. My insurance company, even though I had flood insurance, said, no, I'm sorry, we're not covering you. It cost me 200,000 after-tax dollars to remediate the flooding as I watched my in-ground hot tub float across my backyard. And as comical as that may seem, this is a reality.
Okay. Sir, can you
And
wrap up?
this
You've
property's
got 35 seconds.
yes, yes. We cannot insure our properties at a reasonable cost, and we're bearing the financial burden for some developer who can profit by being permitted by the Committee of Adjustment. And you guys have to be aware of the consequences because other people have got to be bringing these consequences to you. And I have 9 seconds left, so I'm concluding, and I'm going to tell you that I have a master's degree in disaster and emergency management, so I know what I speak about.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I hear your concerns, and to a large extent, I both sympathize and recognize the concerns with flooding, especially in the last month or so. We've had flooding. I personally have had flooding, so I know the problems of flooding. I know the problems of applying to your insurance people, and they are reluctant to provide any insurance. So I hear those concerns. One of the things that maybe you haven't read in the report is that the TRCA, the Toronto Region Conservation Authority, have commented on this application and on its storm floodplain, and they will require a permit and further reports before a building permit is issued. So sometimes we have to rely on the agencies who are charged with those duties to take a look at it. But I hear your concerns about the stormwater concerns. Any comments from?
May I just?
Well, just for this applicant first. Yep. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Sir, you have to let us speak for a little bit. You've had your chance. Just give us a few moments here to add some comments and maybe a question to you. My question to you, sir, is what address do you live at?
I said 14 Tread Valley Grove.
Okay, thank you very much. And with respect to the concern for flooding and the height of this building, the chair touched on it earlier. You're aware of, too, we take into context the matrix of also elevations. You're aware of the elevation in this area for this property?
I am aware of the elevation, and we are at a lower elevation.
Fair enough. I just wanted to make sure with the applicant's application that you're also aware of their elevation, and the numbers sometimes do not tell the full story when we say 2 to 3 stories if the elevation is also a component of that calculation.
Yes, well, they're 1.2 meters above elevation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Khan, that's for the.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, Madam. I heard the comments, and comments are legitimate. Concern is right. The privacy should be respected by all neighbors. Being a neighbor, that is a concern, all right. But at the same time, lawful and legal addition or renovation of a house, committee cannot hold. it has to be accepted. And hopefully, your neighbor, when he puts up the second story or so forth and so on, he is decent to give you the opportunity to enjoy your freedom of privacy. But committee cannot hold any lawful addition or alteration to the building.
Thank you. Any other comments for the speaker? Nope. Okay, back to the applicant. You have 5 minutes to speak.
Yeah, we've been dealing with the TRCA already, and then we support the soil report, some management report to the TRCA, and then it's almost approved right now. So that's why we came back to the TRC, to the Committee of Adjustment. Right side of the property, it's about 60 meter, is TRCA land. Lower than our property, half of the property actually lower than the road, and then all the water goes there, and then the TRCA has no issue with the floodplain, and then the Pratt Valley is on the east side. It's like 100 meter away from our house, about 100 meter away. And then there's a lot of trees, big trees. If you look at the Google map, there's big trees. I think there's no issue with the privacy. And then once again, I explained to you, our house, the main building is 7 meter, which is not higher than the other houses. Technically, it's the average height is higher because of the valley is very low of the east side. It's our house is same as all other house, the height. So it's not like we are really higher than the other. One more story? No, we are not like that. We have 2-story house here. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Any other further comments? No? Okay, committee, we're now in committee. Do I have some comments?
Madam Chair, I hear all the concerns. I mean, flooding is a concern, I think, across the country. But looking at this site, I think that, in my opinion, this site can accommodate a 2-story home. And in terms of privacy, certainly from Tread Valley Grove, there are a significant number of trees that are, blocking sight lines. So, and even to the backyards of Cherry Hill, there is a lot of greenery. I would also argue that that's what we always want, as much greenery and softscape for drainage. And I don't see significant hard surface being added here to compound any issues. So I would be supportive of this application, and I do understand the concerns. There's always concerns when something new is proposed. However, I will be supporting the application.
Okay. The community planning have some conditions.
Yeah,
Bill?
there's forestry conditions and there is planning conditions. And I believe forestry is asking for condition number 2. I'm not sure if my colleague, Mr. Stinson, wanted to add something.
Okay.
Thank you,
Mr.
Chair.
Stinson.
I just want to add that I think it's important, and I appreciate the presentation, and I appreciate the neighbor's concern. But in this case, I have to agree with my member to the left. It's a heavily wooded area. There's a lot of great privacy. These are significant properties with a lot of land around them. In most of Toronto, a lot of people have people seeing into their backyards. So, well, we hear that. That's not a concern I have in this file, so I would be approving this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
All right, so
Okay.
if there's no other comments, Madam Chair, I'll move a motion to approve the application, including the community planning conditions in the August 7th report, as well as forestry condition number 2.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. I have a second.
I will second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion to approve by Ms. Salmon, seconded by Mr. Khan, subject to community planning that says build in accordance with the drawings as shown in an urban forestry permit. We don't put the permit in for TRCA, that's a separate permit, but that would have to be acquired prior to a building permit in any case. All those in favor? Okay, that matter is carried. That matter is approved. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you to the resident for raising your issues. Moving on to item number 5, which is 35 Shandera Crescent. The purpose of this application is to construct a rear yard carport, and it talks about the height of the building and lot coverage. This is 35 Shandora. Is the applicant online? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak?
Madam Chair, committee members,
Just a
my
second.
name is Eddie Perez.
Okay.
I-
Can you wait for a second? I just want to see if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this item. Not seeing anyone? Okay, sir, go ahead. Give you your name again and your address, sir.
My name is Eddie Perez. I'm here on behalf of the owner and designers. I'm at 537 Rogers Road. And as you said, we're proposing a carport with 2 minor variances. They're very minor in nature, and I feel that they meet the 4 tests. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments or questions from committee? Nothing? I note that community planning has suggested that they build in accordance with the plans. Are you okay with that, sir?
Yes, I am okay with that. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Yes, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a straightforward application, 2 variances, minor. Therefore, I move this application be approved as has been recommended by the staff as well.
Okay. I have a motion, Mr. Khan, for approval, seconded by Mr. Reed.
I'll second that, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor? Thank you. Your application has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Our next application is number 6 for 4 Treleven Place. The application for 4 Treleven Place is to construct a detached garage in the side yard. And they're requesting a number of variances. We have 7 variances. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this? No? Okay. I saw movement in the audience. I wasn't sure whether they wanted to speak to the item. So for number 4 Treleven, is the applicant online? Thank you. Good morning, sir. Would you give us your name and you have your name, address, and you have 5 minutes to speak.
Name is Salvatore Crimi. Address is 2572 Edmonton Avenue West. Good morning to you, Madam Chair, committee members, Committee of Adjustment staff, and attending public. Before you is a proposal to construct a detached garage in the side yard of 4 Trelevan. This application was previously before the committee a number of months ago, at which point I wasn't representing it then, the owner was directly. Planning staff had severe concerns with it. So I was engaged at that point by the owner, and we undertook discussions with community planning staff. We held a conference. We ended up reducing the overall length. We reduced the entrance door, which was at 9 feet to 8 feet. We reduced the overall height to match that of the primary detached dwelling, so both roof peaks match. and at the same time consulted surrounding neighbors. As you see within the petition of support, all surrounding neighbors do support it. Upon my initial visit to the site, I did see that the surrounding community does contain a lot of examples like this with detached garages in the side yard. A lot of them similar in size. There actually is two present within the court of Fort Trelevan Place. It's a court, dead end street, and there's two other examples that are fairly similar, if not identical. So with the planning support, which we have on file, and the support of the public, I do confirm that the proposal is minor in nature and meets the four tests. And to close, it shall be noted that this garage is solely for storage of yard equipment. The owner does have a weekend car, so that's for the length. He's going to store his weekend car towards the rear, and then the front will house his main vehicle. And no living use shall be contained within this detached garage.
Okay,
And I close the presentation with that.
okay, thank you. Any comments? Mr. Stinson?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for that brief presentation, sir. I would note what the agent has provided this committee, and that is that there's already existing detached garages on this street. I think that the support with respect to some of the letters that are in this file also demonstrate a willingness of the community to accept this. And I also feel that the proportionality of the adjustments made by the applicant now are very satisfactory. So I will be looking to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. There are conditions. Community planning has asked for the build in accordance, and urban forestry has a condition. Does your motion include those?
Thank you, Chair. Just to be clear, that was me giving a comment. If you wish me to put forward a motion, I will, but I wanted to give the other people on the committee an opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Khan, you have a question.
Yes, madam, I have a question through you. Sir, my question is related to variance number 3, 4, and 5, but at the moment is number 5 in question. Your ancillary building floor area 66.9 meters square, while the maximum allowed is 10 meters square. Now, how come you are having such a large area and still you are claiming that your lot coverage is 33.2 while 33 is allowed? So how do you justify that the floor area lot coverage is nearly the same as allowable, but your floor area 66.9 exceeds 10%, 10 meters square?
Okay, sir.
Through you, Madam Chair, to provide a bit of an explanation how those variances resulted. It's a fairly decent sized lot. So that's why the coverage number is barely even a variance. It's 0.2 over, whereas the floor area you can consider somewhat significant over, still minor in nature, but over. And it's due to the lot area. So they're calculated differently. It's a percentage of the total lot, gives you lot coverage, and then the actual structure itself will give you the maximum permitted floor area of that detached ancillary structure. And again, the primary use of it, as I stated, is primarily due to the length of it, and it's a tandem garage so that the weekend vehicle with storage can be at the rear, and then his primary vehicle at the front. And like I said, this is a common application within the area of this community. And I hope that satisfies your inquiry through you, Madam Chair.
Okay,
Yeah, I realize that your lot is big and that's the basic reason that you are applying, right?
you got a very large lot, sir.
It is a large lot because it is the end lot, and that's why the coverage number is so minimal and the area number is large.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Anything else? Okay. Do I have a motion? Yes, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, madam. I'm taking the staff recommendation. I think they are right, and having a big lot, I make the motion that this application be approved with conditions and forestry condition as well.
Okay, So you're recommending approval in accordance with urban forestry condition and the community planning condition that they build in accordance with the plans. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Stinson.
Thank you, Chair. I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion for approval of this application from Mr. Khan, seconded by Mr. Stinson, subject to the conditions. All those in favor? That matter is approved. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Apologize for the delay here. I thought I had to change agenda items. I didn't, so I've had to go back. It's all dealing with computers. We're dealing with this. So the next application is for 84 Santa Monica Boulevard in the Birchcliff community. The purpose of the application is to construct a garden suite, and there are 3 variances, all dealing with the garden suite. Is the applicant online? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this matter? Okay. To the applicant, would you give us your name and address? And do you wish to make any comments?
Good morning, committee members. My name is Deepak Tyagi, and our address is 2550 Matheson Boulevard, East Mississauga. And our application is for a proposed 2-story garden suite at 84 Santa Monica with a total interior floor area is 97.3 square meter. So we have submitted a previous application for committee of adjustment with 5 variances. However, after having a thorough discussion with the planning staff, we have removed 2 of the variances, and right now we have only 3, which are very minor. Out of 3, 1 is because of an old exception in the bylaw which restrict us to make a garden suite. However, in the entire GTA, 3 units are allowed on a particular lot. The second one is a minor encroachment of the angular plane at one elevation, and that is because of the irregular shape of the lot. The third one is the building area of the garden suite that is also minor, which is like only 2 square meter extra, coming around 3% total variation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, and we have no other speakers. Okay, what's the wish of the committee?
Okay, Madam Chair, I've read all the materials and it matches what the applicant just went over. I'm prepared to approve this application, including the planning condition and forestry number 2, because I feel it meets the 4 tests and it's appropriate development for the site.
Okay.
And that's the planning report, right? Yeah, I said that.
Yeah. So the planning condition is that they build in accordance with the plans as submitted.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the planning report.
Okay, and
August
urban
13th.
forestry. Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Stinson.
Ms. Oman.
Ms. Oman, seconded by Mr. Khan. All
Yes,
those
second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. Your application is approved, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, we're now on item 8, 67 Sloan Avenue. Yes. 67 Sloan Avenue. The purpose of the application is to allow for a parking space on the existing front yard stone. It's got a variance for front yard landscaping and a second variance, but the proposed front yard landscaping is 27% versus 75%, and the parking space may not be located in the front yard. Is the applicant online? Thank you. Sir, well, before we go to the applicant, is there anyone in the audience? No, okay. Sir, do you wish to, may I have your name and address?
Hi. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Alam Makour at 159 Quebec Avenue, and I'm here to represent the client at 67 Slan Avenue for those variances. As you already mentioned, we're trying to get a variance to allow for front yard parking and also unable to meet the requirement for front yard landscape and also the soft landscape percentage. This is a multi-generation home. They probably did the work without the benefit of knowing all the zoning requirements. Now everything is done, it's existing, all the stone at the front, and we are willing to work with the committee to kind of bring the soft landscape into acceptance. We are going to remove about 1.57 meters from the front of the house, and also the length of 4.34 meters, and we're going to make that into a soft landscape. Hopefully that'll help.
Okay. Will that change the amount of landscaping in your front yard?
Yeah, it will increase it. Right now, it will bring it up to 22.09 square meters, which percentage 44.83.
So from 27%, your soft landscaping will now be 44?
Yes, that's correct.
Sorry, what did you say the percentage was going to be? You said 22.09 meters square, and then how much percent?
Would you give you that number again, sir?
44.83.
44.83%?
Yeah. Do you have the latest site plan I have sent?
I don't believe so.
Do you mind sharing with me so I can see what you guys looking at?
Through the chair, the site plan we have is what was submitted prior to the written submission deadline. So we can pull up that. It's on the screen.
That's the survey.
Yeah, we have a site plan that
Okay.
shows the existing stones and your proposed parking space.
Right. I was just speaking to one of the city staff, and I have sent them. I'm pretty sure it was sent after the deadline, so it's not there. It's Kellyanne. It was
Okay.
the person I was speaking to.
Okay. Can you explain again what you're proposing to do? We're looking at this plan that we have in front of us.
Okay, what I'm proposing to do, as you exit the house from the front door, to your right of the porch, we are looking to make all that into soft landscape, into a rectangular that is 4.34 meter by 1.57 meters. That was the recommendation from the staff, if they are to approve this.
Madam Chair, can I just ask a question? Deputy Secretary Treasurer, is it possible to ask the applicant if he could send you the new site plan now, and then we could put it on the screen and just deal with an amendment to the second variance?
If I may, Chair, in the community planning staff report we have,
Yeah.
the site plan is reflected in that.
Through the chair, we can't
Wait, just a
accept
second.
that.
Second, Mr.
Mr.
Reed was
Reed.
saying that we have that.
We have it. It's in page 16 of our files.
Through the chair, we can't accept a plan that was submitted through community planning. It was not submitted to Committee of Adjustment, so it's not on the public record, and it doesn't include the full set of plans. I believe that's only a standalone page. So we would need the full set of plans submitted to Committee of Adjustment.
Okay, so what are you suggesting then, a deferral?
It may be appropriate in this scenario.
I see, if we go on to the staff report, they in fact, as Mr. Reed pointed out, they show the revision with the soft landscaping. So you've added some greenery. Can you pull that up on the screen?
You get the planning attachment.
It's in the community planning report. I was page 16. Oh, yeah. That's it there.
Yes, that one.
Yeah. So that's your revision.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, committee, do you see the revision? And by that revision, you're changing your required landscaping to a minimum of 44.83%. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
So through the
Committee,
chair,
what do you want to do?
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
through the chair, if I may make a procedural suggestion, while we can't accept the site plan that was not submitted to the public record, we can allow the item to proceed as an amended application that does not tie the site plan. So if the applicant wants to walk staff through the revisions, we'll write it on the screen right now, like the numerical revisions to the variances.
Can I give you, I wrote the numbers down. So if I understand and the applicant can confirm, the amendment was to variance number 2 to 22.09 meters square, which equals 44.83%.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Would that impact the landscaping of 49.5% versus the 50%?
Is that a question for me?
Yes, sir. Can you provide because you're
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
okay. You're revising. We've got 3 variances. First one is the parking space on the front yard, so we understand that one. The second one is a landscaping is 49.5% of the front yard versus 50%. You're close. By adding additional landscaping, does that mean that you can meet that variance?
You're talking about the first one, the required 50%?
Yes.
We are above what is required in terms of landscaping. The only issue we have is a soft landscape percentage, where it's supposed to be at least 75%, and we only have 44.83.
Okay, so
it used to be less.
All right.
Sorry.
So, committee members, can we come back and have one conversation, please? Committee members? We kind of need to,
That number is 22.09.
okay. So the second variance, landscaping 49.5% versus 50%, he no longer needs.
I
So-
believe I do meet that because the landscape area is 71.36, which is 74.41% of the front yard.
Okay,
That one we meet.
you can meet that one.
The,
And then
but
the
the
soft
last one,
landscaping, you can't meet the 75%, but you can revise it to 44.83%.
that's correct.
Okay, all right. So we still need variance number 1, which is the parking. We don't need variance number 2, and we do need a revision to variance number 3. Instead of 27.6%, it's 44.86.
Yes.
2? Okay,
If,
I've just written them as 3 items here.
no, it's variance number 2.
Variance number 2 is the soft landscaping one, is it? Okay. Thank you for that. All right, committee, what is your opinion?
I thank you, Chair. I am confused, and I would like from the top, 1, 2, 3, somebody to explain to me where we're at. Thank you.
Okay.
Through you, Madam Chair. So we're keeping number 1 as is, and number 2 is being amended to read 22.09 meters square, which equals 44.3%, and number 3 remains the same. So the amendment is only to variance number 2.
Through
Thank
the
you,
chair,
Chair.
just to clarify, is it 44.83 or 44.3? Can the applicant please confirm?
44.83, and that's 22.09.
Okay, and I believe we don't need variance number 1. Can the applicant clarify? Variance number 1 says a minimum of 50% of the front yard must be landscaping. Your proposal is 49.5.
That's correct. The new one is 74.41. So yes, we don't need the
You
minor
don't need
variance
that.
number 1 on your screen.
Okay. All right, so number 1 has been deleted by the applicant. Number 2 has been changed by the applicant to 44.83%.
Yes.
And number 3, the proposed parking space is located in the front yard, and that remains.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any further questions? Nope, we're clear? Okay. Now I need a motion.
All right, Madam Chair. I will move a motion to approve the application as amended with the deletion of variance number 1. Variance 2 reads 44.83%, which equals 22.09 meters square, and variance number 3 remains in place, as I feel that this is appropriate development for the site, and we will not be including the planning condition as outlined by staff earlier.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Oman. Do I have a
Chair,
seconder?
could I just make a comment before we vote on it?
Yep.
I'm not going to be supporting the application, and I think this is one of the challenging cases where we have an as-built situation before us. Like, I think if this was not built, and which that's the way we're supposed to be looking at it, I think. I find that still, I mean, we've been talking a lot about runoff and rain and stuff today, and I think that this is not, gets to the question of desirability, and is this actually good for the neighborhood and for the city? And I think this level of impervious surface covering most of the front yard, when there are at least 3 parking spaces beside the house, existing, I don't think that's a desirable thing. So I appreciate the applicant's willingness to improve the situation, but I can't support it.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Yep, they're valid comments. He's got an awful lot of hard landscaping, not only in the front, but also in the side yard, and then, of course, the parking spaces. So, yes, valid comments. Any further comments?
Can I
Yes.
just add one condition to my motion, please? That the driveway be permeable pavers.
What about the proposed parking space? Do you want
Or
that?
everything, the proposed parking space be permeable pavers.
Okay. So you want to add a condition?
Yep.
Through the chair, we can add that as a note to the minutes, but we typically aren't adding that as conditions anymore because it has to be to someone's satisfaction. And the division isn't here to take responsibility for that clearance.
Okay.
Okay. So we can't add that. Mr. Stinson.
Thank you, Chair. This has been a very reflective discussion for all of us, I think. I just want to commend Committee Member Reed because I too had some concerns with respect to the nature of how much is happening to what should be soft is hard. That being said, I defaulted to what we rely on as a committee, which is the experts that you don't see every day when we sit. And because of that, I will be approving this, but I do appreciate that it's worth noting, and thank you, Committee Reed.
Okay. Any further comments? All right. So, do I have a motion? Yet again.
Yeah, I'll give it to you again. All right, so my motion is to approve the application as amended, deleting variance number 1, amending variance number 2 to read 22.09 meters square, which equals 44.83%, and variance number 3 stands as is. We will not be including the community planning conditions for reasons outlined by staff earlier. And my condition for permeable pavers will be put in the notes.
Okay. All right. Do I have a seconder?
Chair, thank you. I'll second the motion.
Okay. All right, I have a motion by Ms. Ullman, seconded by Mr. Stinson. All those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Mr. Reed is opposed, and he has given his reasons. Thank you. Okay.
Madam Chair, I
That-
believe you wanted to take a break. It's after 11.
Good. Sounds like a good time to take a break. We will take 10 minutes. Okay. In the meantime, is staff, have we received that letter yet? Okay. We're going to take a 10-minute break. That means we'll start again at 11:20. That's a little bit more than 10 minutes. Okay.
Can the panel members turn off their cameras? Can all panel members turn off their cameras before leaving the room?
All right. Our next application is 312 Taylor Road. It's a new two-story detached dwelling. And there are a number of variances involved. 5 variances. And I believe we had this application deferred from a previous meeting. Okay. Is the 312 Taylor Road? Is the applicant online? Is there anyone in the audience for 312 Taylor Road? No, but I have 2 people listed online.
Through the chair, Samir Dawan and Madhavi Chandrasekaran of 315 Taylor Road have advised staff they no longer wish to speak.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Fern, Fern, I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, sir. As the agent, would you introduce yourself, and you've got 5 minutes to make a presentation if you wish.
Hello, members. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, my name is Murray Fern. I'm at 20 Ferris Road, East York, Ontario. And I'm the applicant, agent, and designer representing the owners of 312 Taylor Road. Our proposal here today was deferred from June the 26th, 2024. And again, our proposal is to demolish the existing 2-story dwelling and 2-car garage. And we wish to construct a new 1- and 2-story dwelling with a 3-car garage. In order to construct our new dwelling, we require 5 variances: front yard setback, maximum building length, maximum area of a platform above the 2nd story, combined width of vehicle entrances, and maximum width of the driveway. Our immediate 2 adjacent neighbors have no objections to our proposal, although we are aware of the 4 objections from other neighbors, 2 on our side of the street at 328 and 330, and 2 on the other side of the street of on the other side of Taylor Road at 321 and 329. I can review these objections at a later time. That's okay. Item number 1, the major objection seems to be the front yard setback. The bylaw requires us to be set back 18.46 meters, and our proposed setback is 6.6 meters. Because our property backs onto the ravine, we are governed by the TRCA. TRCA requires us to be set back from the line of the long-term stable slope by 10 meters, or just under 33 feet. If we could have constructed our home in line with the existing rear dwelling, which initially we were trying to do, we would have a front yard setback of 12.9 meters or 42 feet 4 inches, further setback than many other of the houses on the street. Item number 2 is with regards to the maximum building length. Maximum building length is 17 meters, and our proposed building length is 21.44 meters. The owner's requirement was to have a 3-car garage, and our objective was to design this garage with the access doors not visible from the street. And this garage is similar to the house at 264 Taylor Road, which is 5 houses down the street to the west. The only difference is that our garage is attached to the house. And if our garage was detached, we would have no building length variance. And I sent a picture in. If the members could look at my picture of 264 Taylor Garage, this is exactly what we're proposing. The other picture, that's, yes, that's the one. This is, again, down the street, 5 houses to the west. This is exactly what we're proposing. Access from the street to the 3-car garage. Now, what you can't see on this picture is there is an additional driveway which runs out to the street, so it's like a big circular driveway, whereas ours has only one driveway like this, and we're removing the other existing driveway that accesses the existing house. Variance number 3 refers to the size of our second-floor deck. The zoning requirement is a maximum of 4 square meters, and our deck is 17.86 square meters. We are trying to take advantage of our view of the ravine. This deck also provides us with a covered porch area below. Typically, the issue for a second-floor deck is overlook. Our deck is 14.55 meters, or just under 48 feet from the neighbor to the east at 320 Taylor Road. The overlook is to the side of their house, and they have no objections to our proposal. Now, I sent another picture of 320 Taylor balcony, which you brought up before. Yeah, this shows balcony over a portion of the ground floor facing west towards us. So there's this balcony, and then there's another balcony, which unfortunately we don't have a picture of, which returns around the rear of the house too. But this balcony here, the size is approximately 38 feet squared, which is a lot larger than we're proposing. And with regards to variances number 4 and 5, the combined width of vehicle entrances and the permitted driveway width. If I can refer back to the house at 264 Taylor Road, 5 houses to the west, their driveway access to their 3-car garage is exactly what we're proposing. Except they have an additional driveway to the street, as I said before, which you see from that picture. In our proposal, we plan to remove one of the existing driveways to the street. We had a circular driveway, and now we're just going to have a single driveway. In fact, when we construct our new driveway / garage access, the area of the driveway hardscape will be reduced from 312 meters squared to 105 meters squared. That means 1/3 of the area. We'll only be taking up 1/3 of the area of hardscape as originally.
Sir, can you wrap up your comments, please? You're over the 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that over the past few months, 6 months specifically, submitted our drawings to Toronto Region Conservation Authority. They have no objections. Ravine and natural feature protection, there are no conditions. Urban forestry Scarborough, there are no conditions. Community planning, they have no objections as long as we construct to an approved site plan. Transportation services, they have no objections to variances number 4 and 5, which pertain to their jurisdiction. And natural heritage have no objections. We are providing bird-friendly practices with visual markers along the windows and the rear elevation toward the ravine. And we're also providing dark sky lighting fixtures, which are only downward casting.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm glad you addressed the comments, because I've got Urban Forestry had commented, but they're happy now. Ravine and natural features permit was required. You've dealt with that. Transportation services are now satisfied. TRCA will still require a permit, but you're generally satisfied. And your natural heritage impact study, has that been completed?
Yes, it has. Yes, we have. Yeah, they have no objections to our application.
Okay. We've got the previous information from the previous agenda, so I'm just double checking whether everything has been covered, but it looks like it has. So the only thing in terms of conditions is community planning report that you build in accordance with the plans as submitted.
Yes, yes, we're
Okay.
aware of that.
All right, thank you. Any comments, committee members?
Yes.
Mr. Khan? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I would ask, I will draw the attention of the applicant towards variance number 1. Sir, my simple question is there any in the neighborhood any house with this kind of setback, to your knowledge?
Yes, well, as a matter of fact, I was going to have that information farther. Across the street at the address 315 Taylor Road, I went on the city's, let me just look here.
Anyways, I don't want to cut you off. My concern is that this is awfully close to the street, and any straight truck, car, or motorcycle could be a dangerous incident of that time. So it is it requires later attention, and also the information I do not have from transport services about your variance number 4 and 5. So all they are saying that it should be deferred. That's the information I have. You have
Well,
something latest on this?
I have a June.
Yeah, that's an old notice.
Just a second, sir. I have a noted June 18th. Transportation Services has sent a new letter. I think it was in last year's supplementary.
Thank you, madam.
And they are now okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
No other questions? Yes, Mr. Stinson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation, sir. A couple of things. Just to be clear, the only recommendation that I see before this committee today as of August 7th, is community planning. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. They're asking us to build as per the approved site plan that you choose to approve.
Thank you. I just want to put that on the record, make sure we're all clear, because a bunch of things have been thrown around here. Also, this is a substantive piece of property overlooking Lake Ontario. There are quite a few homes in this area with wide varying ranges of frontage and rear, all different dimensions of lots. I'll just summarize that way. I was a little concerned about the balcony, but in light of it looking over Lake Ontario or to the back of the house, I'm relieved of that concern. So I'm just saying for the record, and my comments are that I won't find problem with approving this application. Thank you.
Mr. Stinson, I am going to correct your statement. Mr. Stinson? I think this overlooks the Rouge Valley Ravine. And knowing that you are very familiar with the Rouge Valley Ravine, you've probably driven your vehicle that has to look for protection up that area.
I want to thank the chair for the correction. I'm sorry, I had a moment. Yes, the Rouge. I didn't mean Lake Ontario. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm just sort of pulling your chain here a little. Okay, so any other comments on Taylor Road? Yes.
I'm just curious why you didn't set it back further and line it up with the two adjacent houses. Can you just comment on that? I know you mentioned across the street, but those lots are very different. They're much smaller, so the wider part is closer to the road, but the lot you have is more rectangular, so I'm just curious why you're setting it so close to the road in comparison to the adjacent homes.
As I indicated, we're required by the TRCA to be set back 10 meters, which is about 33 the stable top of slope. So initially, we were trying to design the house in line with the rear of the existing dwelling, but we couldn't do that because of their comments. Again, as I say, we have to be 10 meters back from that stable top of slope, which brings us so far forward, or else we would be set back farther.
Okay, thanks for confirming that.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, what's the wish of committee? We have any comments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I accept the application about stable bank. I mean, it is important to protect that. This is quite a large lot. I think that what's proposed is in keeping with some of the surrounding houses. Therefore, I would be supporting the application with the community planning condition. If there are no other comments from my colleagues, then I would move a motion to approve it with the planning condition.
Okay. Any other comments?
Okay, so that's my motion then, Madam Chair. I feel it meets the 4 tests, is appropriate development for the site, and move approval, including the community planning condition.
Okay. Mr. Stinson?
Thank you, Chair. I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Oman and is seconded by Mr. Stinson for approval, subject to community planning. And all the other commenting agencies, I understand, have been satisfied. So all those in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, committee members. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 11, 266A Kennedy Road. Is the applicant online? Thank you. Okay, this is an application for 266 Kennedy Road. It's a new build, and the variances is for height of building.
Madam Chair, if I may, I don't think we need a presentation on this one, but if my colleagues agree.
Hey, okay. With the applicant, would you identify yourself? And committee doesn't feel we need a presentation. I think we heard from you the last time around on a similar application. Would you please proceed?
Yeah, this is Peter Jeruza from Arc Design Group. And like I mentioned last time, this one was coming forth this meeting. It's the same thing, just the neighboring property for a height variance to deal with an existing condition.
Okay. Community planning has a comment that you build in accordance. I assume you're okay with that?
The building's already built, so
Yeah.
yes, I'm fine to build in accordance because it's already built.
It's already there. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
Okay, Madam Chair.
Ms. O'Mullen?
I move approval of the application, including the community planning condition. It's appropriate development for the site and meets the 4 tests.
Okay. Do I have a second?
For the record, the Metrolinks.
Oh, the Metrolinks, are we putting that in as a condition? Okay, we're also going to include the Metrolinks report then as part of the approval.
Okay.
Yep.
So moved by Ms. O'Mullen, seconded by Mr.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Khan. All those in favor? Okay, that application is approved. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Moving on. Our next application is 11 Crescentwood Road. I see we have people in the audience. Are you the applicants?
Yes.
Okay, both of you?
Yes.
Okay. The rules are one of you can speak, and if you want to speak as the applicant, and then you have the opportunity to be the rebuttal. The other person can speak, but he doesn't have the opportunity to rebut.
Is that fine with you? That's fine.
You're okay with that?
Yes.
All right. So this is 11 Crescentwood Road. It's a new two-story detached dwelling, and it has a number of variances. Let me just... This is a somewhat complicated application for a variance. It has 15 variances
That is correct.
at this point. You're proposing to add more?
No.
Okay. So we've got 15 variances in front of us. May I have your name and address, please?
My name is Kathy Garrido. My address is 1724 Queen Street West. I am the agent and architect for the project, and the owner is here in the event that there are any questions that need answering that I'm not able to answer.
Sorry, I didn't hear the owner is...
Leaf Bristow, and he's right here.
Oh, okay, you're the owner, sir. Okay, okay. So, this is a fairly complicated application. I would appreciate a brief presentation, please.
Yes, we are here before you after having worked with the Toronto Region Conservation Authority, a geotechnical engineer, shoreline engineer, arborist, urban forestry, ravines, to rebuild the house currently located at 11 Crescentwood. Our variances are a little bit, sound like they're very extreme, but the vast majority of them are driven by the reports that were created by the geotechnical engineer and shoreline engineer to establish where that long-term stable top of bank is. So what I did to help clarify what these variances are, we had sent in a brief presentation just to simplify some diagrams over which you have up on the screen. So I wanted to simplify. Most people who aren't accustomed to reading drawings find the site plan very confusing, so we broke it down into the individual variances. As you will see, the property is backing onto Lake Ontario. It is a very deep property. We indicated on this little diagram the context of where it sits within the neighborhood. There's a very light dashed line that indicates the existing house, and then, of course, the proposed house is the darker outline, number 11. We dashed on this top of slope just so you could understand the topography of the site. It is flat, more or less flat, until you get to that dashed line where it says top of slope, and then the site drops off and goes down into Lake Ontario. So we're quite high up from Lake Ontario, as are the rest of the houses on this block. The little red line that's indicated there is the TRCA line that we are keeping the house behind, and the reason we were deferred from the last hearing. So we had the house ever so slightly, little tiny corner of it poking through that red line. Community planning wrote us at the 11th hour last time and asked us to please move it closer to the street by that additional 3 feet, which is what we did. So all of the variances changed slightly, and we're here before you today with those variances. So that red line is the 98.2 meter shoreline hazard limit. We are behind that, which also puts us behind the location of the existing house. We were originally hoping to rebuild on the footprint of the existing house. However, because of the topography, this being the bluffs, it is better for us and the environment to be closer to the street. So that is sort of the summary of it. The next diagram, we created just a bit of a close-up to that, so you can see it simply where we are. You can see a little bit better the position of the existing house. We have staggered our house. The other thing I'd like to point out is this has a very triangular front property line. Unlike many houses in Toronto, we're not a rectangular lot. That condition also aggravates many of these variances. Because of the topography, the lot area used for the calculations is also just a fraction of this property. The property is almost 600 feet deep, but we only have a very tiny bit at the front that allows us to calculate the floor space index. In addition, Normally, the TRCA requires you to be 10 meters back from that shoreline hazard limit. That would push us pretty much right to the street. So that explains the usable, we did a little diagram to show you what's left of the lot if we actually comply with that, which is the orange space. So that is the area of the lot that is allowed to be used for the calculations by the zoning bylaw. Just to show how extreme the change is when you're dealing with a property that's right on the lake. The next diagram just shows what's left if we were to move the house into that buildable area between the front yard setback and that little, that 10-meter setback line. And then the last one just shows what we've done to try to mitigate the diagonal at the front of the street, which is, we do have a garage, a 1.5 car garage towards the front of the lot, and then we've stepped the rest of the house back to be behind those lines. So it sounds like there are many variances that seem quite extreme. They are all driven by the TRCA rules and where we're having to put the house, with the exception of the parking garage size. We have reduced the garage to be a 1.5 car garage instead of a 2 car garage, which triggers a variance for the garage size. We did this to provide more open landscaped space in the front yard, which if we had done the full 2 car garage, they don't need a second car, so for the owner, it was not an issue to have a 1.5 car garage, but it allows more landscaped open space. I also want to just briefly point out that while we are moving the house quite forward towards the street on the lot.
We're at the 5-minute mark. Can you wrap it up quickly?
Yes. I just wanted to point out that many houses on the street are of similar setback to the street line than this house will be.
Okay. Is that everything?
Yes.
Okay. Comment, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, my question to the applicant is about variance number 1. In your proposal, FSI, what is the percentage times the lot area?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. What is the?
Your floor space index.
Yes.
You've given it to us as a number. Normally, it's given to us as a percentage.
Oh, what is the percentage?
Yes, I believe the zoning requirement is a percentage.
The maximum, that's an excellent question. Here, 1 second. So, it's funny because the way it's written in the bylaw is that it's 0.5 times the area lot or 279 square meters, and that's calculated based on that reduced area. So let me go to the reduced area diagram. So the lot area, we only get to use 8.5% of the lot area. 419. So
what is the area of your lot?
Well, the lot area that we're permitted to use for calculating the floor space index is only 419 square meters. The total lot area, however, is 2,273 square meters.
All right. I think
so it's kind of 86% of the lot area, but it's not really 86% of the lot area. It's only 86% of the portion of the lot behind the 10-meter mark that we're allowed to use for calculating that area.
Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated math to do on the fly, but that was the diagram that we had where we showed the lot area as a big purple mark, and then below it is an orange square that shows how much of the lot we're allowed to calculate to create that floor space index.
Okay, and the rest of that lot is the slope
Correct.
down into the lake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's quite a significant, now because we're moving the house back from the lakeside, there's quite a significant rear yard behind the house that's flat land. It's just that where they calculate the stable top of bank is further back than that edge of the slope.
Can I move to the second question?
Yes, go ahead.
Madam, my second question is, you can have one balcony, not two. Which one would you like to have, east or the west?
You can have one balcony in the bylaw, not two. Which one would you prefer to have? The east balcony or the west balcony? The east balcony would be in the master suite. The east side. If we had to pick, it would be the east side.
Could you kindly speak up?
If we had to select between two, it would be the east side, which is where the primary suite is located.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No?
Can you just confirm, did you do a zoning review before you came in with all these variances, or are you here on a waiver?
So we had a zoning review for last month's hearing, and when community planning came back and asked us to move the building an additional 3 feet towards the street, we signed a waiver to make all of those changes.
Okay, so you're confident with all these variances here today?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
If I heard you correctly, this is generally with the TRCA, they would want you 10 meters back,
Yes.
but you've said today, if I heard you correctly, that while you have moved 3 feet closer to the road, the structure, it's very much not outside of the 10 meters or at 10 meters from that.
We are behind the 98.2 meter shoreline hazard limit, but yes, we are not set back at further 10 meters because that would push us almost all the way to the road.
Okay. And I appreciate.
That's where TRCA asked us to locate it.
Thank you. And you mentioned that you have had geology firm and also a shoreline firm.
Yes. We have reports for all of the, we've completed all of the required reports that the TRCA requested.
Mm-hmm.
The geotechnical report, the shoreline hazard report, there's a whole bunch that we've done already. So they were the ones that said, this is where we want you to put the house.
You mentioned too in your comments, if I heard you correctly, that there's a lot of existing properties that are essentially where you're proposing this new build in relation to the drop.
In relation to the street.
The street.
So because we're now pushed it seems like we're pushing the house much, much closer to the street. However, if you look at the context, the site context map that we prepared, it is not out of character for the rest of the houses on the street to be this close. There are other houses pushed further back that exist. They will, in all likelihood, if they rebuild, will also have to move closer to the street.
Okay. Thank you for your answers.
No problem.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. Has anyone from the TRCA been on site to confirm the top of bank?
The TRCA actually demanded that we hire a shoreline engineer and geotechnical engineer to establish those things, and then they have a consulting engineer that they use to review all of those things. So I can't confirm if our specific TRCA planner was herself on the site, but their engineering team was there with our engineering team.
Okay, so their engineering team and your engineering team have both been on site.
Yes.
To confirm the top of bank.
Yes.
We have the report from TRCA, And I'm not necessarily very happy with that report because it's a quasi-report. It says, no feasible development area totally outside the 10-meter buffer of the shoreline hazard limit can exist. So they're basically saying you can't build.
They're saying that within the rules that they set out, if you follow that 10-meter setback in addition to the 98.2, you run out of space. Correct. So it is a little bit confusing, but essentially, yes, you
Yeah.
run out of space to follow their rules precisely.
Okay. I was out there
Yes.
and was very concerned with the street, the property, location. Beautiful location, you could see the lake, but if you step at the edge, you can see that it's a straight drop. So you know, there's nothing. One of the things that I noticed on some of the other lots, no, let me just change that. One of the things I did is I walked down to the park, and I saw that they've got a chain link fence, and they've had to move the chain link fence closer to the road because that part of the park has just gone down to the lake.
Yes.
They got 2 trees still in the park that have not gone down to the lake. I went down to the end of Warden Avenue and saw again the same thing, that there's been a big drop.
Yes.
The city obviously has moved the no trespassing zone further in, again, because of the drop. And this is a portion of Scarborough, sandy soil, very active erosion area. I'm concerned about the location of this building vis-a-vis the rear yard. What I'm also less concerned about is how close it is to the street line. All the houses on this street are jagged. So you really want the house to be closer to the street and further away from the ravine, which may just disappear. And we've known over years that there have been major, don't call them slumps, just major loss
Yes.
of the backyard. So you've got virtually no backyard, really.
No, that's not correct. We have lots of backyard. So we're 98.2 meters of
Flat area?
not quite, very close. Not quite flat area, but actually Angela may be able to send me the exact distance from the back of the slope. Sorry, one of my staff is watching this. So Angela, if you could send us the distance from the back of the house to the top of the slope. It's quite a significant yard. So if you visited the house and walked to the back property, you would have seen the existing back of the house. I didn't actually dimension the
Okay.
site plan.
I don't go on to private property, so
Okay,
I can't
so
do that.
in the backyard, in our site plan, there's,
Chair, if I may, too, there is a good photograph of the backyard. You may want to refer to that.
yes, there's on the far left of the diagram right above there, you'll see a diagonal dashed line. That is the top of the slope where it starts to slope down with the trees. So the back of our house is now further away from where the current house is. The new house is proposed further back from that. So there's quite a large rear yard before you get to that. Let's see if she's able to tell me.
So that-
About 65 feet. So the back of our house to the top of the slope is about 65 feet at the closest part.
But the TRCA 10-meter line runs through the porch and the swimming pool on your proposed dwelling.
It's an existing deck that's there that we're reusing it's a patio area. You can see that's the front of the house.
Yeah,
and that-
I see at the back of the house, you've got the patio,
Yeah,
and then you've got the TRCA lines.
sorry, that's the back, yes.
We're still showing,
So the way they create those lines is related to the geotechnical study that was done to establish the stability of the slope, so that the variance that we're asking for is related to the additional 10 meters that they require from that hazard limit, which we are at the hazard limit. So they were supportive of putting the house there and said in most cases they want people to be that additional 10 meters. In our case, because there is not that land there, they're fine with us being located where we are.
Okay. And you're telling me that you already moved the house closer to the street in order
Yes.
to be further away?
Yes.
Okay. Another question. I don't see any tree report. We normally have a tree report.
Oh, the tree approvals had already been issued to us, and I thought that that would have been in your files. We did work with an arborist on this. The trees closest to the existing driveway and where the existing house is on the side are going to be kept. We are, in fact, going to be keeping a portion of the existing foundations in place to protect those trees. So we didn't need a tree permit for removals for those.
Again, I think my issue is the stability of the backyard and what I saw out there in terms of trees in the park. We've got 2 trees, but they're quite far into the park. The rest of the trees have obviously just gone over the cliff, gone down. So the trees are acting as a stability. And so what I was looking for on your property is where are there any trees and what trees are you preserving? I don't care about the front yard. I'm worried about the backyard.
So
Are you keeping any trees in the backyard?
yes, all of them.
And we don't have a report that I've seen to say that.
It's supposed to be in your files. Forestry sent a report, and it should be in your files.
Okay, I don't see anything.
Through the chair.
Yeah, do we have it?
No, the conditions table indicates that there's no conditions. So likely forestry has already been satisfied, and that's why they haven't implemented any conditions for this application.
So forestry doesn't care anymore. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. After listening the location of your property from the chair, my attention goes back to your variance number 15, where the house setback from stable top bank is 0.
Right.
You are supposed to be having minimum 10 meters. It's very concerning.
This is the issue that we've been discussing. We can't be an additional 10 meters because there isn't.
Can you speak up a little bit closer to the mic, please?
Yes. We can't be an additional 10 meters because there isn't space at the front of the property to move us forward an additional 10 meters. So the position that the house is in now is what the TRCA said they would support and what community planning said they would support. We can't be that additional 10 meters from the 98.2. It's just the topography of the land and size of the property. So when we engaged the engineering companies that we engaged, we had many conversations with them about the long-term stability of that slope in the back, because of course my client does not want to build a house and have it fall off into Lake Ontario either. And we were assured that that 98.2 meters provides plenty of long-term stability for that property. It's a 100-year mark, I believe, that they say that it will be there for at least 100 years.
I'm not trying to cut you off, madam. with due respect, I will draw your attention now, goes back to variance number 2, where the length exceeds the maximum.
That is because we
So, I mean,
pushed,
there is some sort of a adjustment you had to do to make me understand that we should give you approval.
so the reason we asked for the additional length is because we slid the garage forward to stagger the front of the house so that we could fit in the diagonal sort of triangular shape that the front of the building has.
Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Hi, I'm looking at the TRCA report. They talk about given the existing house is partially within the shoreline hazard limit, and there's no feasible alternative sites that they can permit replacement dwellings that are of the same size and footprint. So a like-for-like thing.
Yes.
So my question to you is, and they do also go on to say that they consider the proposed dwelling to be an overall improvement on the existing condition. So my question to you is, the new house compared to the existing house, is the encroachment into that area the same, or is the new house slightly less, or do you know?
It's less. We have moved the house, so we were hoping to be on the footprint of the existing house. We've
Right.
moved it towards the street a significant amount to reduce the hazard and be outside of that 98.2 meter setback.
So that, I guess, presumably is why they feel you're actually improving a condition, you're not making it worse.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
On this plan, there's a line. Is that line that's kind of comes down, what plan are we on? The one with the I guess your site plan with your TRCA 10-meter top of bank. And you've got a sort of a dashed line in the middle of the building. Is that dashed line the existing house? Or what is that dashed line?
Sorry, if,
Perhaps, yes. Okay,
So
see
that-
the dashed line, it comes,
that is the required front yard setback from the street line.
that dashed line?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about the one at the back.
Oh, the one at the back is the 98, that's the shoreline hazard limit at the back. That,
No, sorry. It's a line that comes straight, it comes down, goes out, comes back, and comes down.
the footprint of our house.
Yeah, it's totally within your proposed new house.
That is the existing house.
Okay, that's what my question is. So that's the
Yeah, that is the
location of the existing house.
That is the front. You're seeing that little bump out there. That is the porch or something of the existing house.
Okay, so that's the porch of the front of your house, and at the bottom there, you have a garage that is closer to the road.
Yes. Oh, we're moving everything closer to the road. So that's why I created the extra little diagrams, just to explain where the existing house was a little bit better. So it's hard to see on the site plan, but the existing house is behind.
Okay, I see on that same plan, you've got a line here saying
Yeah.
existing house footprint.
Yes, so that thing that looks like a bay window is a bay window at the back. That is the footprint of the existing house. And the patio, the existing patio is behind that, meaning towards the water side. An additional 32 feet. So we are behind the majority. We are closer to the street than the majority of the existing house.
So you don't have very many trees in that backyard? You've got one tree in the backyard?
There are 3 large trees in the backyard, but they're all well behind the existing house, so they're not nowhere close to where we're building the new house. which is why we didn't need permits for those trees, because we're not injuring them, we're not within the tree protection zones. The ones that were more of concern were at the front of the house, towards the street. The rest of below that dashed line, which is the top of bank, it's all trees and shrubs all the way down to the water. There are a couple of mature trees in the backyard, but that's it.
Okay. All right. And you've already moved the
Madam Chair?
lot forward. Yes.
Are we going to hear from the speakers at all, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure this out myself, so sorry, I've got
I
more
just
questions.
wanted to
Thank you
remind
for
you just
bringing
in
my
case,
attention
yeah.
to it. We've got other speakers here. Okay. I guess I have no more questions at the moment. Thank you. Does the owner wish to speak?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and committee. Just to put a little context on this.
Have your name and address.
Oh, it's Leif Bristow, 1 Valhalla Boulevard, and which we live currently about 10 houses away from the new house. We used to live at 83 Fishley. We lost that house to TRCA. We don't want to lose a second one. So we worked very closely with TRCA when we had 83 Fishley. It was determined by TRCA at a subsequent meeting that they didn't want to support doing any of the remedial work at the toe. So it was determined that it would be better to buy the house together with 1 Midland and knock it down to extend the parquet. So we've been through that process. When we bought this house, one of the things that we looked at was, and I agree with you, it's an area of instability, and you make good reference to the park at the bottom, Little Crescentwood Park, which I'd like to comment on, because that is a situation that is needless to be continuing the way it is. To me, it's dereliction of erosion prevention. What we're very concerned about is that this is the house we want to, quote, age in place in, which is one of the reasons we're putting an elevator in the house. It's where we want to be able to be. So what we didn't like when we bought the house was that there was not sufficient rear tabletop land. So we communicated with TRCA from the time we bought the house, which was 2 years and 2 months ago. As you may know, last year, this new line for shoreline hazard was brought in when we were halfway through all of our planning and work with TRCA and zoning to bring the house forward. And then when they did the new study, Baird Engineering, which is the firm representing TRCA, put the line basically in the middle of the street on Crescentwood, and they did the same thing going west of Yonge Street for all of shoreline erosion through water on the lower lots. So in bringing in shore plan and TerraProbe to do all the geotechnical and the other work, the other thing that we did was we brought in an arborist to say, how can we create the most effective crest stability? And where should we move the house forward? Because if you look at the photographs of the house that were submitted, that you can see the backyard, one of the things that house had is it had about a 40-foot, I think it's 32 feet actually, is the stone patio behind the existing house towards the crest. So what my wife and I said is, okay, let's move the house forward and add all of that soft tabletop land back to the rear. Let's do something consistent with what the Toronto Hunt Club has done and bring in an arborist and plan a proper berm. And if you'll notice one of the things that I was really appreciative of seeing in the City of Toronto's support letter for this project that I saw on Monday was that they're for a berm planting scenario for the rear, and that, as they said, this is a vastly better position than the house is currently in. Our option as a couple to deal with our house is we have, as of right, we can build on the exact footprint the house currently exists. That is not in the best interest of TRCA or the city, the community, or the bluff. So the only choice and the only place the house can go on the lot is precisely where the City of Toronto Planning Department and the TRCA said it must go. And that's all been done based on a year of reports done by every department. I've already paid the permits to forestry because they had completed their studies. So we've tried to adhere to everything, but to also be very strong advocates for a good community property on that street. And yes, with regard, the majority of the houses on the street, there's two houses that have a deep front yard setback. Currently, it's number 9 and number 11, the house adjacent to us and our house. Number 9 has not objected. The house to the east of us, the house to the east of us, which is number 15. There is no 13. Neither number 15 or 17 have objected to what we want to do. And in fact, the houses at 1, 3, and 5 all have front yard setbacks equal to what we will have by moving the house totally forward to the street. If you look at houses to the east of us, virtually every house to the east of us has a front yard setback equal to or less than the front yard setback that we will enjoy when we complete the house. So I would ask you to, I recognize that there's a number of variances, but they've all been created by our desire to move the house forward and fully required to move it forward.
To wrap up your,
Okay.
your 5 minutes.
Okay. That's unless you have any questions for me, that's what, that was our reasoning.
Okay. Thank you for that additional information. When I first looked at this, one of my inclinations, and we can't do this as committee, would be to move the house even further to the street, so that it's the rear yard that we really trying to protect, so it doesn't go down into Lake Ontario. But
I agree.
We can't. You're asking for a variance of a certain rear yard or a certain front yard setback. We can't increase that. We can only say yay or nay. But that would have been my preference. Get that whole building as close to the street line as possible so that you protected the backyard, so that you protected the slope.
Yeah, we wouldn't be adverse to doing that. I think in fairness to the community, the average front yard setback on the street, or I would say the predominant front yard setback on the street, is approximately 42 to 43 feet. Our driveway will be about 51 feet. So I think if we were to move further forward, it would upset the neighborhood, in kind of in an undue fashion. This is precisely where the City of Toronto and TRCA said to put it to meet all the conditions. So that's what we've done.
Okay. We have any other questions of this applicant or of this speaker? No? Yes, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation also, sir. We have a lot of people to hear from. I just will say that part of the decision-making of this committee is looking at what is being proposed today and tomorrow. And while it's important to remember what's there today, even the TRCA did move the line, as you pointed out earlier, and I appreciate your transparency and honesty. And that's because we're living in different times with our climate, and this is one of the major concerns of some of the, I would call them, very competent people on this committee that are familiar with this type of work. So thank you for your comments, and we're taking it all in.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We have 2 people online. Is Mr. Small online? Do we have anyone in the audience? Sorry. Sorry. Certainly. Come on down. We take the audience before we take online. Are you also for this? No. Okay. No. Come on down. Would you give us your name and address, please?
My name's Tom Callahan, and my address is 3 Crescent Wood.
What's the address?
3 Crescent Wood.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Callahan. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to point out that there are some very detailed objections on each variance, and I support those. I join with them, but I want to talk about a different issue, which is trees. We all are perched on this cliff, and every day, pretty nearly everybody goes back and looks at it to see if they've lost anything, and sometimes we have. So it's a precarious perch, and we all believe, and TRCA agrees, that the major factor in keeping us from sliding into Lake Ontario are the oak trees. And it's also a major factor in the beauty of the street. The south side of Crescentwood is quite unique. There's 16 houses perched on this cliff, and they're surrounded by huge oak trees. They're big. One of my property is over 2 meters in circumference. That's what's keeping us there. And I'm concerned that they'll go. And I hear what is being said here about the trees, but there's nothing to enforce that. And the applicant already has cut down trees on the property that exceed what he's legally allowed to do. I live next to number 5, obviously, and number 5 was a rebuild, and they were denied permits to cut down the trees, so they cut them down. And there's nothing you can do. If you approve a permit that requires trees to be cut down, and then the CRCA or someone says, no, you can't, you may think you've saved those trees, but you haven't. They get cut down. And the applicant has already done that. They get cut down and they're fined $10,000, I think is the number. Well, the property costs $2.7 million. I'm sure the house will cost $1.5 million. So, $10,000 fine really means nothing. And I don't see anything in what's been submitted that even, he said very reassuring things today about saving trees, but I notice that report and those comments aren't available to you. Is there anything backing that up? I don't think so. I think those big oaks are going to go. I don't think they're going to use the foundation from the old house. And really, once you approve this, there's nothing to stop them from chopping them down. And we've lost a lot of trees on Crescentwood for that very reason. As I say, my neighbor was not given permission to cut them down, so he cut them down. You can't enforce it. If you pass this permit, if you approve it, I believe those trees will go. And I've seen no documentation supporting that they won't. And that's really the extent of my comment.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I noticed on this that, yes, it looks like the garage is going to be on top of 2 trees that presumably would have to be cut down.
They're huge.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping us on the cliff. And all this concern about sliding back and apparent concern for the cliff and the community, it's all sounds good, but when you start dropping down trees of that size, and they are huge, you're imperiling everyone.
Any questions?
One just little comment.
Okay.
It's been said there's been no objection from 15 and 9. Well, those houses are vacant. Nobody's lived in them in a long time. So I don't understand the economics of it, but they are. So there's no surprise that they're not objecting. But the next neighbor, number 7, Kevin and Angela Martin, have written a very extensive objection. And I think to the west as well. The 2 houses neighboring him, of course they're not.
Yeah, we do
There's
have
no one there.
2 speakers to the west, number 5 and number 7. And yes, when I was out there, I noticed that number 9 looks to be totally vacant. And in fact, one of my concerns was we approve this and the next application we're going to get is number 9.
Well, and number 15 is the yellow brick one.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
But there's been no one living there for 20 years. So.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? No. Okay. All right. We're to Mr. Small on number 5.
Through the chair, staff have attempted to contact Robin Small. We were unable to reach them.
Okay. What about Martin? Mr. Martin is online? Okay. Good morning, sir. Would you please give us your
Hi,
name?
this is Kevin Martin. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you give us your address?
Hello, Madam Chair. It's Kevin Martin. The address is number 7 Crescentwood Road.
Okay, you've got 5 minutes. Please proceed.
Thanks, Madam Chairman. Just following up on a letter that we sent into the committee, we do object to this application for variances on a number of conditions. One is we would argue the point that these are minor variances. They appear to be 15 in number. So both the number and scope seem to be outside of the definition of minor in our perspective. I would also like to point out that a lot has been made in terms of the counter arguments this morning about, the applicants are forced to do this based on the regulations coming back from various agencies. And would like to point out that there is another option, and that is to revise the building plans and revise the size of the dwelling so that fits within the scope of the regulations of the lot size. And one final point, I guess, from our side is that moving the proposed dwelling forward towards the street introduces a couple of concerns on our point. Number one is you're reducing the landscaping. Mr. Callahan brought up the matter of the oak trees, but away from that, this is an active flooding zone. We've had issues with flooding down the street for the last 10 years plus. And by removing the vegetation and the softscaping in the front of the yard, I think you increase the chances of flooding. So we're concerned on that. As well, this house is just on the precipice of a corner, so moving it forward as well introduces dangers to the neighborhood in terms of road safety. There are no sidewalks on Crescentwood Road. That is all from my side. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. You are number 5 on Crescentwood. How close are you to the street?
Madam Chair, we are number 7.
Sorry. Okay, number 7. How close are you to the street?
We haven't measured it, but we're quite far back, and you'll have to take into account the curve of the street, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
Number 11 is on the precipice of the curve, and the setbacks move with the curve of the street.
Okay. I'm going to ask again then, forget the front of your house. What about the backyard? How much flat backyard do you have before you get to the cliff?
There's approximately 70 to 75 feet.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Committee members? No? Okay. No other speakers? Yes, you're 5 minutes now.
We do have tree permits ready to be issued for removing the trees that are in the driveway where the garage will be. That is at the front of the house along the existing, if you look at the photograph of the front of the existing house, you'll see there are actually there's a tree in the driveway that would cause you to have to drive around the tree to get into the garage. That would be under the house. So those tree permits, the reason you got an email from or a letter from Forestry that they had no concerns was that we've already dealt with all of the tree permits and they've granted us permission for those trees that are right in front of the current garage. The rest of the trees, Urban Forestry, we have dealt with. We have no plans to remove any trees other than the ones that are permitted by those agencies. I can't promise any future anything, but my client's intention has never been to remove any trees other than those essential to the project. Everybody likes mature trees on their property and wants to maintain them as long as possible.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, thank you very much. All right, committee, we're now in committee. I will start. As I've indicated, I've got a lot of concerns with this application. Um, First of all, the size of the house is bigger than what is permitted. And if it was back into the more modest size of house, we might be able to place it on the lot a little bit better. I would like to move the house closest to Crescent Wood as possible, get it as far away from the rear as possible. So that's a first comment. It is a big house. And it's a lovely property, so we understand that people want to build a big house on a beautiful property. What I'm most concerned about is you may get started in the construction and the entire slope goes. And I don't have anything here saying that that is not a reasonable possibility. You know, the TRCA, which is usually who we comment on, they just said there's no feasible development area without this. So that is no comfort that a house should be built here. I'm struggling with this one. As I said, I went out there. I struggled with it. I know TRCA in a lot of cases along the bluffs tries to acquire the property because you can't build, or it's unsafe to build. Not only when you build this one, you disrupt the slopes of the adjacent ones. There's nothing saying that they're only going to take, if the slope goes down, they're only going to take 50 feet. They're going to take whatever that world engineer, geophysical soils want, they will take. And I have some struggles with this. Okay.
Madam Chair, I'm not convinced that this is appropriate development for the site. I share your concerns and everybody else's about preserving the top of bank. With a lot of the rain, things are eroding faster. There's a myriad of problems that I see. If you pull the house forward a lot, you're now changing the frontages on the street. So it's no longer consistent. So you're kind of changing the urban design principle if you pull the house forward. I understand the existing house is in that hazard line, but this is a new build, so do we really want to put it there again when we have a chance to maybe build a smaller house and have a decent setback from the front and observe the protections for the top of bank? In terms of trees, I'm actually surprised there's absolutely nothing here from forestry. I mean, we do have ravine and natural feature protection, but there's really no comments. And, looking at those trees, I would agree with the speaker, Mr. Callahan. I mean, looks like a pretty big tree. So I'm kind of surprised that they're issuing permits for this. So I'm inclined to just not support this one. So that's where I'm at with this application, Madam Chair.
Any other comments? Let's take Mr. Reid first.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is definitely challenging, as we've heard, and this has created a lot of discussion. But I see it differently. I think that the applicant and their agent have done significant work, right? There's been a lot of due diligence by qualified people, more qualified than I am, to comment on stability of slope. And I think that they've come to a consensus that this is acceptable from the perspective of TRCA and from community planning. The forestry permits have already been pursued and granted. And I think that there's been compromise in the design of this. And I mean, I honestly don't know what else you'd do. Like this is a massive improvement over what's there, right? With the moving of the house forward and the removal of the stone covered area, you're increasing the permeability in the back. And I think that the jog design reflects the street. I mean, there's two sides, right? There's the street front and how those variances are reflected. And thanks to the neighbors for giving thoughtful comments on those specifically to each variance. But looking at the variances themselves, I do believe that they're minor. And then looking at the kind of more stability side, I'm gonna rest my opinion with the professionals. So I would support this application.
Mr. Cohen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bigger houses, good location, are pleasant to look at, and they are required, and we want in our society to have pleasant buildings. But at the same time, looking through 15 variances in front of me, I want a structure which is long-lasting, has a longevity, and the people who enjoys that facility can safely live for year and year after. But I am dissatisfied that these 15 variances do not comply the zoning bylaws, and therefore I have a different opinion how to vote for it. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Stinson.
Thank you, Chair. We have a beautifully designed home. We have the owner before us. We have the architect here. We've had an opportunity to hear from the community. These are the decisions that this committee is tasked with making. And we sit here as neutral, independent individuals. It may surprise some of you. We don't collude behind the scenes. We have to come up with these decisions in front of you. I am very much wrestling with this, and that's why I gave a long-winded opening remark, because I usually will err on the side of the experts that support this body. I am struggling to approve this in my mind for the reasons cited by the chair, from my other honorable members, and I think it's because I see this as a unique piece of property on the zone, which is the bluffs, if you will. And because of the nature of what supports that land is trees, and the significance of these trees going to be changed with no guarantees for the future, the size of the home concerns me. One of the people that is your neighbor used the word forced, as it was said by the presentation. I caught that word too, forced. I'm not sure there's any forcing going on as much as there could be more adjustments. I would encourage you to look at coming back again, but I don't think I can approve this, and I thank you for hearing me out.
Okay. Any other comments? I think you've heard from me. I would actually prefer, if you ask for a deferral, come back with a smaller house and maybe even closer to the street. I see you've got the garage out front, but perhaps you put the garage closer into the building and do it. I have a lot of concerns about this. My concerns really deal with how a new house, and this is a substantial house. I see you're going from the full width of the house across the lot. So it's a lot larger than the house there. There are other houses on the street that are larger, no question. It's an area that really should enjoy a larger house for the real estate, but it's an area where I would hate to see the construction start and everything just go down the slope. And that slope, I don't see that enough attention has been spent to that. I don't see enough about trees that are being maintained to maintain that slope. Unfortunately, we don't have those reports, and I don't have any confidence that the people that are supposed to be providing that information have adequately answered our concerns. So, yes.
Are you ready for a
I'm
motion?
ready
I think
for a
I
motion.
just lost part of the mic here. All right, Madam Chair, for all the reasons I outlined earlier, I don't believe that this meets the 4 tests. It's also a significant number of variances, so I don't know if we consider this minor. So I would move refusal of the application because, as I said, it doesn't meet the 4 tests that we're supposed to look at.
Okay. I have a motion for refusal. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Khan?
I'll second the,
Okay. The motion for refusal of the application from Ms. Stinson, seconded by not Ms. Stinson, Ms. Homers. Sorry.
That's okay. We had a great honeymoon, thanks.
Seconded by Mr. Khan. All those in favor of the refusal? That refusal carries. All those opposed? Yeah. Mr. Reed would oppose that refusal. Okay, thank you very much. I sincerely think that you need to go back to the drawing board or provide us with some of those detailed reports. We don't have enough here to provide us with the confidence that you're asking us to say, yes, this is a good development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we want to have a 5-minute break?
Through the chair, if you're open to holding off on the break, item 14 has an in-person attendee, and perhaps take the break after item 14.
Certainly. Okay, item number 13. Let me just pull it up.
Madam Chair, I don't think we need a presentation on 13.
Okay. Item 13 is 21 Canadine Road in Bendale, and it's to construct a front yard addition with a secondary suite. The variances, lot coverage. And I'm not sure about that second variance because it says 1 parking space is permitted on the driveway. It's for the secondary suite. But we have it in front of us, so if we approve it, we're okay. It's only if we are going to refuse it to determine whether it's the variance is necessary. Okay. Sir, would you? You're 14? All right. Number 13, do we have the applicant? Number 1 Candine Road. Is he online? Yes. Sorry, Sarah, we thought you were in the audience. We probably should have taken that 5-minute break and to clear our heads, but we're proceeding with item number 13, your 21 Candine Road. Would you please give us your name, sir, and address?
Okay, my name is Khalid Ibrahim from IDIM Architects. I'm the architect and the agent for this application located at 1540 Cornwall Drive, Oakville.
Okay. All right. We've already had a comment that we're not sure that we need any presentation? No presentation? Okay. Can we proceed then to go right in camera? And do I have, yes, Mr. Reed?
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to bring a motion of approval for this application. I think it's very sensitively done, and in adding another unit in a very gentle way within the existing structure of the carport. I think it's a commendable application, and it meets the tests, and I move approval subject to community planning.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Khan has got.
I'll second the motion.
So I have an application to be approved by Mr. Reed, a motion for approval, Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Khan. All those in favor? Okay. The application is approved. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Through the chair, for the record, did that include community planning's condition? Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going on to item 14, which is Glen Muir. Okay. The application is to convert an existing garage into a garden suite. The area of the lot covered by ancillary building containing a garden suite may not exceed a total floor area of 60 meters square, and your proposal is for 67.96 meters square. Can I have your name and address, please, sir?
My name is Mark Smith. I'm the agent and designer for this application, and my address is 50 Cambridge Avenue.
Okay, just a second. Is the mic on there?
Suite 203.
Okay, maybe give it all over again.
All right.
Can we lift it up, or that's as far as it goes? Would you give your name and address again?
My name is Mark Smith, and I am located at 50 Cambridge Avenue, Suite 203 in Toronto, Ontario.
Okay.
Chair, if you don't mind, I would like to say, for me, I don't need a presentation. I'd just like to put that out.
Okay. Okay, no presentation is required. Any discussion? No? Any motions?
Chair, I'd like to move that we approve this application, and I thank the gentleman for showing up today, and I'll leave it there.
And I'm happy to second.
Okay, I've got a motion for approval from Mr. Stinson, seconded by Mrs. Ohm. All those in favor of approval? Your application is approved.
Was it worth the wait?
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's number 13 has been approved. Number 14, we just dealt with, it has been approved. I suggest we take a break. How long a break do you want? 10 minutes? 10 minutes, okay? Okay, we're going to take a 10-minute break. That means we'll come back at 1 o'clock.
Panel members, please turn off your cameras.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This is a continuation of our meeting. We have dealt with all the items up to 14, with the exception of item 2, which we'll deal with at the very end of this meeting. So our next item is item 15, 132 Canlish Road. Is 132 Canlish Road. Is the applicant online? Thank you. And we have the owner online, and we have a neighbor online.
Through the chair, staff attempted to contact Rod Murray of 130 Canlish Road, and we received no answer.
Okay, all right. All right, so we'll deal with this application with the applicant first, and then see if the Mr. Murray's online. Okay, it's the application for 132 Canlish Road. The application is to convert the existing garage into a garden suite. I think it's to convert a portion of the existing garage into a garden suite. No, sorry. That's the wrong application. Let me just go on to, sorry, that was the previous application I was reading. Okay.
Yes.
I'm
Hello.
sorry about that. The application still is 132 Canlish Road. It's in the Dorset Park community. It's to construct a second-story side addition to the existing dwelling. And the variances are coverage, 33% is permitted. There are 33.96. Minimum building setback from the side lot line and driveway width. Okay, I think the applicant is online. Would you give us your name, please, and your address?
Yes, my name is Doug Norton. I'm the designer of the property. My address is 37 Bedell Crescent in Whitby, Ontario.
Okay. All right. We have listed yourself, and we have listed the owner. We have listed a neighbor who has a concern but isn't online yet. Do you want to provide a really quick 2-minute presentation?
Sure. With regard to variance number 3, I've been in conversation with the right-of-way, and we had a long discussion about that variance. I'd like to withdraw variance number 3, please.
Okay, so the variance for driveway width being proposed at 5.87 meters. You wish to withdraw that?
Yes, and if the person in charge of the display could display the photograph of the front of the house that shows this posting of the sign, that will help clarify the withdrawal of the variance.
We don't really need the posting of the sign, sir.
Well, no, it's the view of the driveway in that photograph.
Okay. We don't care about the.
I just wanted to identify the photograph.
Okay. All right. I see the photograph. Is that the correct one that you wanted up there?
No, that's not the one with the sign.
Through the chair, we don't have the sign posting photos. Those aren't included in panel member packages because it's an administrative component. So we don't have them on hand right now. We do have the site photos that were submitted as part of the application that's on the screen.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, that was one of the ones that's in the list of documents that if you click on my address, that photograph is in that list.
Yeah, I've got page 402, it is additional parking on front lawn. But I'm assuming, sir, that you've got a driveway there already built. What you're proposing to do is take out that driveway, and you're no longer.
No, what I'm proposing to do is just to eliminate the curb cut. That was the objection, was they didn't want to widen the curb cut. We're going to leave the existing driveway as it is.
If you leave the driveway the way it is, you still need a variance for a driveway width.
Not according to the people that I spoke to at the right of way.
We don't have any confirmation of that. It is getting late and we are tired. Would you be willing
Yes, I can.
to
I've
defer
seen,
this and we'll get a clarification? So if all you need is a side yard setback and a coverage, we would like to get maybe written clarification of that, and we'll deal with it at the next meeting.
Through the chair.
Perhaps then I can suggest we modify the third variance to just eliminate the curb cut then.
I'm sorry, the variance isn't just for the curb cut. Staff, you had a question?
No,
Through the chair, just a point of clarification, the variance list is based on a zoning review. The zoning review is done for the private property. Curb cuts are not in the scope of committee of adjustment. So any direction that the applicant might have received from right of way would not apply to the private property, which the variances are dealing with.
but the objection was for the curb cut. That's what I'm saying. The objection to the variance, to the number 3 variance, was because of the curb cut.
Can I weigh in for 1 second, Madam Chair? I believe that the existing driveway doesn't comply with what's permitted. So however it got to be that size, this variance is to legalize it. So you still need the variance. Now, I do agree that the report specifically talks about the curb cut and safe walk path. So I'm not sure because we don't have any further comment, but you do need the variance.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in that case, I guess we let that variance stand, and because without that variance, I guess we have a problem. You know what? If we have to come back to committee for another variance, I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to withdraw the number 3 variance because there seems to be some sort of confusion between the various departments of the city as to what they're objecting to and not. So
can I make another
I'm just going to.
Can I suggest you defer it? Because you're definitely going to have to come back to legalize it. Because anytime you make an application and something doesn't comply, whether it's part of what you're doing or not, you still have to legalize it. So you're going to have to come back for sure. So does it not make more sense to have transportation either revise their report if the only issue is the curb cut? I don't know, but I think that makes the most sense.
Well, it doesn't make the most sense for construction because it pushes us into the winter. So,
well, we could probably bring you back in September. No, we can't bring you back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Till September.
What the advice I'm getting from staff is that we can't bring this back for the next agenda. What we have in front of us has nothing to do with the curb cut. We don't really care about the curb cut. We are dealing with your property. And on your property, you have a paved area that has a driveway width of 5.87 meters. Your driveway can only be 3.2 meters. So where you've got the driveway and the carport, that apparently is 3.2 meters, or we'll accept that. But at the front of your house, on where you would normally have lawn, you've got pavement. And that's what you're asking for, a driveway width for that pavement.
That's right. But the objection and to reject that from your staff was based on the curb cut. So if you can't consider the curb cut, then perhaps you can approve the variance.
Madam Chair, can I ask staff a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer, if the applicant removes the variance and we don't know what committee's going to do, and the other two get approved, because that driveway still doesn't comply, can they get their building permits or not, speaking to the construction scheduling
If,
that's mentioned?
through the chair, if any component of the application does not comply with the zoning, in this case, if the driveway is not revised to 3.2 meters, they will unlikely be able to get permits.
Okay, so again, the deferral is probably the way to go, but it's your choice.
Through the chair, if I may add, if the applicant chooses to come back to the committee with a new application, it would be a new application fee. If they choose to defer, they would not have to pay a new application fee.
We're giving you a lot of options. So you've got an application in front of us. The application's got three parts. The part that we're worried about is the driveway width on your property. Well, we don't care about the curb cut. We don't care about the road. We're talking about how much of the front of your property has been paved for a driveway. If we can deal with that application and either say yes or no, or we can defer that application while you determine whether you want to take out the paving that's, I believe, already in place, so as to proceed with your building permit for the rest of your application.
You said the owner is online?
I don't know. I have Mr. Yes, I do have the owner. Is he online? Yes, the owner is online. What I suggest is you and the owner have a discussion. We'll defer it for 5 minutes, and we'll come back to this. We've got another application. We will come back to you.
Through the chair, procedurally, we can't jump between applications. So we can take a break during this application, but we can't go to the next item.
We've done that before.
I know.
Yeah. We just want to defer this item. Sure. If you want, all right. So you got 5 minutes. We will wait for you to make up your mind as to what you want to do. Discuss it with the owner.
All right,
and we'll be back.
I'm just going to, I'll confirm with the owner by phone just for a second.
Okay.
And then I'll wait for you to come back, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Thank you. next month about what is our option? Well, then we get clarification from committee and then from. Hello, hi, thank you for your patience, committee members. Unfortunately, because of the recommendation by staff not to allow that third variance, I have the feeling that it would go down in flames if we tried to stick with it based on the information you have now. I spoke to the owner and we'll go back to making the driveway the way it was originally, 3.2 meters.
Okay, so you are withdrawing your variance for the driveway width of 5.87 meters, but you still want your coverage and your side yard setback variances.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. Do I have a motion?
Sure, Madam Chair. I would move approval of the application. I feel that what's being proposed in terms of the second-story addition is, in keeping with the area, meets the 4 tests. So as amended with the deletion of variance number 3, but I would like to put a condition in that the driveway be restored to 3.2 meter width and with the community planning report. So that's my motion to approve with that condition to restore the driveway.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, moved by,
Chair, I'll second the motion. Thank you.
thank you. Moved by Member Orm, seconded by Mr. Stinson, that the application be approved, subject to a condition that the driveway width be removed. And the second part of your condition?
No, the driveway width is to be restored to be 3.2 meters wide.
Okay, and that's all?
Yeah, so it's amended, deletion of variance number 3, community planning condition, and then my condition to restore the driveway to 3.2 meters.
Through the chair, just to clarify, community planning's condition, which ties to the site plan, which shows the driveway,
Oh.
we can't tie it to that
Okay,
plan.
so can we tie it to the the building portion on any of the plans at all?
Through the chair, do you mean like an elevation?
Yeah, it's predominantly, they want it built as per what they've submitted, right?
Through the chair, you can tie it to the elevations.
Okay, we'll tie it to the elevations then. Instead of the community planning report, we'll.
Could you please just repeat the motion for the record?
I don't think we have any elevations.
Yeah? Yeah.
Are there elevations? Because there's no plot plan.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead
So
then.
the motion is to approve the application as amended, deletion of variance number 3, and to tie it to the elevations that are submitted, and a condition that the driveway must be restored to be 3.2 meters in width.
Okay, all right,
Chair, I'll second the motion.
okay. Moved by Member Owen, seconded by Member Stinson. All those in favor? Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Your application as amended has been approved. You understand that we are asking that you delete that addition to your driveway. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 16. Item 16, I understand from staff, we've got an issue with item 16.
Through the chair, staff have been advised that there are missing variances as the revised zoning reviews were not submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, so the public notice on record is not accurate.
Okay, so item number 16 is for 1430 Birchmount Road. There are several variances requested, but apparently there are additional variances needed. Has the applicant been informed that he needs additional variances?
Through the chair, the applicant flagged the missing variances to us.
Oh, okay, good. All right, sir. Can I have the name of the applicant? Is he online?
Yes. My name is Rochelle LaRock,
Okay.
and I am representing my client, which is a numbered company.
Okay. Can I have your address, Ms. LaRock?
It is 21 King Street West, Suite 1502, Hamilton, Ontario.
Okay. And you are requesting a deferral because not all the variances necessary have been identified. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Do I have a motion for deferral?
Hi, Chair. Thank you very much. I recommend that we do defer this in light of all the right things that have been said and where we're at with this until the necessary documents are added.
Okay.
Through the chair, just to add to the deferral, sine die.
And add sine die.
All right. I have a motion to defer this application for 1430 Birchmount Road, sine die, submitted by Mr. Stinson, seconded by Mr. Khan. All those in favor of the
I'll second the
deferral?
motion.
Deferral is granted. You'll receive a new notice. Obviously, you're going to have to provide some further information. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 17, which is 50 Danforth Road. This is the application for 50 Danforth Road. It is to increase the interior floor area for an eating establishment and to reduce the number of parking spaces. Is the agent online? Good afternoon, sir. Would you please give us your name and your address?
Yes, my name is Abayomi Awotungashe. I'm at 1454 Riton Road South, Oshawa.
Thank you. Staff, committee members, do you have any questions? Do you need a presentation? Okay, I don't think we have any questions. We don't need a presentation. Do I have a motion? Mr. Reed.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a reasonable application. It's just internal work at a strip mall, and the two variances that come of it are minor. And I appreciate the applicant's justification letter. That was helpful in providing some context. So I believe that the variances are minor and meet the 4 tests. So I'll move approval of the application without condition.
Okay. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Khan? Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have approval moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Mr. Khan. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Your application has been approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, we now have to go back to item number 2. We were waiting for an additional report from staff. I believe that has not been received.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay. Is the applicant online? Good. Sir, I believe you understand that we are waiting for an additional report from staff. It hasn't been received. We are suggesting that your application be deferred. Are you in agreement with a deferral?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are in agreement with the deferral, provided it's deferred to the next meeting on September 18th. We were expecting to have the updated memo today. It appears that there just isn't sufficient time this morning, given how the proceeding has gone, and so we would ask that it come back on September 18th.
Okay, thank you. For the record, can I have your name and address?
Yes, thank you for that reminder, Madam Chair. The name is Max Laskin from Goodman's LLP, and our address is 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400, Toronto.
Okay, so we have a deferral for this application to the next meeting of the committee. All those wait a minute, I need a motion
want
from
me to
somebody.
move? Okay. Madam Chair, I will move deferral of this item so that issues can get resolved. And I'll move deferral to the September 18th meeting.
Okay, do I have a seconder?
Chair, I'll second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have a motion for deferral from Ms. Oman, seconded by Mr. Stinson. That deferral will be come back in September 18th meeting. All those in favor? Okay. That motion carries. Thank you very much, sir, for waiting. We'll see you in September, as they say. All right, I think that is the end of the agenda. Any other items that need to be addressed? Okay. Can I entertain a motion to go adjourn, to be able to go home? Okay, motion for adjournment? Okay, motion for Mr. Khan, seconded by Mr. Reed to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
Sorry, all those in favor?
All in favor?
Why can I not log out?
That was good. 132, not bad.